Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Disabled Story. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair, large blue and brown spectacles, and a pink checkered button-up shirt. Uh, and I also have a black headset around my head. I'm seated in front of a blurred out background. It's my kitchen. Like roughly 25% of Americans and a full 17% of Philadelphians, I'm disabled. Whether we look locally, nationally, or even globally, disabled communities are full of dynamic, diverse, and frankly delightful people with their own stories to share. All we have to do is listen. As many of you know, I was born disabled. I've never known differently, and I probably always will be disabled. So when I come into contact with other disabled people, whether socially, civically, or professionally, I'm eager to hear their stories, eager to hear their perspectives. Because if you've met one disabled person, you've met one disabled person. Today, I'm honored to be joined by my friend Camille, and I can't wait to hear what perspectives they want to share. Hi, Camille. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Nico.
Of course. So we'll hop right into it. Uh, what was your path to diagnosis like, Camille? Was this a surprise for you and your support systems, or on the other hand, was it something maybe you were pursuing or suspecting? Share that story with us.
Sure. So ever since I was a kid, I always felt a bit different from my peers. But it was something when I was a child that I couldn't necessarily vocalize. It just kind of kept in my head. And so as an adult, I started seeing a psychologist, then a psychiatrist. And I was dealing with some other, health issues and other, day-to-day life problems. And as I was speaking with my psychiatrist, it came up that I should look into a diagnosis for potential ADHD. So I then took it upon myself to go ahead with the test called the QB test. It was founded in Sweden in 2012. It's not a black and white kind of test necessarily, but it gives a basically like a general idea um, about, possible prognosis. So it did the test, which involved a bunch of shapes and different colors and patterns and clicking once you saw the correct patterns come up. And then after I did the test, the results came back a few weeks later. And lo and behold, I had that, kind of that ADHD, uh, we'll say general kind of prognosis. And so when I found out, I was a bit surprised. It took me back because I think that I went so many years of my life thinking that there was like something wrong with me. Like I was like this chipped plate, um, or something like that. And then to find out that, that I'm neurodivergent and that my brain works differently, than maybe others in the world. Um, it was helpful, but there was also a little bit of shame at the time because it was about 6 years ago. So it's still a time when there was a little more shame in talking, a little bit of talking about it, whether it's personally or in the workplace. But it's definitely helped me to find different coping mechanisms and the right people to, surround myself with. And then at the same time, I also found other people in my circle, my families and friends included, that also have ADHD or are similarly minded. And so it's helpful because we kind of help bring each other up and talk about, what our strengths, what our weaknesses are, and what we want to, kind of work on, so to speak.
I love that you found community after you found a diagnosis that really works for you. That's so encouraging to hear. I also really appreciate that you went into depth about what that ADHD testing was like for you, as far as like a QB test and pattern matching. I really learned a lot. So thank you again.
Of course.
Yeah, you talk about feeling like a chipped plate, or feeling like you were kind of out of place. And now for the past 6 years or so, you've had this ADHD diagnosis. What impact has that diagnosis had on you've found support, but has it changed how you conduct yourself professionally, or just giving you more space to paint that picture?
Sure. I mean, as far as like professionally goes, it just teaches me that like how I learn best or better, in the workplace. I'm very into like visual and written communication. Otherwise, oftentimes if something is spoken to me, um, it's hard to process unless I say it. Let's say sometimes if I repeat it, it might be helpful. But 9 times out of 10, if something is said verbally to me, it's really easy to forget it because I have some short-term memory for sure. So learning by written communication, by visuals, by repetition, um, just being mindful with how I speak. I think learning about my ADHD also, I think through time and just through my personality, I've learned um, sometimes to not like to to withdraw like a little bit. So it's a little more, I don't talk as much. So I'm just a little more mindful there because maybe I feel like if I talk too much, other people might feel exhausted by me. But I think it's a good awareness to have both personally and professionally sometimes, but also to find space to still be my authentic self. Um, and to also say that, hey, um, I'm not not to sound trite, but I'm not alone. And whether it's family members or whether it's friends or anyone else across the country and beyond, there's other people that are similarly minded. And so that's really helpful to know. But sometimes, if I having a bad day, I can feel like I'm on an island on my own, right? Just emotionally speaking. But at the end of the day, I know that through the groups I'm in on social media, through friends and family, um, that I have a support group and that I'm not alone.
Fantastic. Wishing you less and less of those bad days or island days as you go forward.
Thank you.
Of course. So, Camille, here you are, and you had this diagnosis, and you're doing good now, it sounds like. But if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice about dealing with um, ADHD, or even if you could advise a younger member of, say, an ADHD community that you're in, what advice would you share with that person?
Sure. I would say always be an advocate for
Oh,
yourself, right? Um, like look into like what an advocate means. Like your best advocate outside your own, potentially family is yourself, right? And so if you want to like, enhance your life or enhance, let's say, if you think you have a ADHD diagnosis or on the spectrum, or you feel like something is like maybe a little off, like keep looking in, like look into it, right? Don't give up, right? But also like find a support group, right? Like I was really get, whether it's tutors, again, like make sure that your family and friend inner circle is a safe place, where you can feel supported and other people feel mindful about who you are, right? But also whether it's in school or the workplace, make sure that nothing's a perfect world, but make sure that there's also a support system there that's going to help you along the way. Whether it's, for instance, I had a trouble with math and major trouble with math and science in school, and I really needed that one-on-one attention. So I was in school. I always made sure that I had that extra attention coming in early morning, staying after school. I couldn't, at the time, for whatever reason, I couldn't get an IEP on school. which I would have really loved and I would have really supported me. But fight for that. If you need to fight for that IEP in school, fight for that IEP. And if you need to, have the additional support helping you do that, do it, right? But always surround yourself with good people, people that are always going to have your back, um, that support you, that give you, affirmations, even if sometimes they're hard to hear, because sometimes it's hard to embrace good when sometimes we hear more bad than good. Um, and I would also say, what else? Just also like work out, eat the right foods, all those things that, we're normally told, even more so today, do those things. And you'll definitely, I think you'll definitely benefit from those things. Something that I also learned from, I think my ADHD and the way my brain works, um, is how much I love music. And even like I play piano, right? So also find what you love, right? Find that brings you joy, will give you that extra like dopamine hit. It does wonders for the brain, on the good, the bad, and the in-between days. And I think that there's something truly to be said about, music, really is food for the soul and for the mind as well. And so I always know that I get that extra hit of dopamine when I play the piano or when I listen to music in the car. It even helps me to focus. But just make sure that you're just doing things that are, you know, about you. Like you deserve to be like loved and valued and you're important. So just make yourself uh known that you're the most important person. and and that you know that you're supported, that you care about yourself, but that you're also supported by other people and that you're not alone.
Wise words indeed. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I reserve space in this last final question to allow you and me as disabled people a thing that we so rarely get to do, and that is to brag about ourselves, share any recent wins that you're celebrating, or if you have something coming up that's really cool, you can talk about that as well. If you're interested in like building community online, where can people find you online? But this is just a space for you to grab your pom poms, step up on your soapbox, and be your own cheerleader. So let's hear it.
Sure. So where people can find me online. I'm on Instagram at CAJZ84. I also have a blog on medium.com, which I will share with you later, so you can share it if you'd like, where I just post about anything that I'm really passionate about. I love connecting dots and people. I think it's just part of my brain chemistry. And so I make sure to spotlight different people, talk about different struggles I might have. It's a mix of things. Definitely, it does not have one linear path on my blog. And what else? And I'm on Facebook too. But I'm always gonna, do my best to be, I'm a passionate and excited about any of the topics that I talk about or any people that I run into, to find commonalities and to provide community as well, whatever the topic might be.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'll put those links in the video description. Camille, it's been wonderful checking in with you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm rooting for you at least. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you so much.
Of course.